जय हिंद एवरीवन, वेलकम टू टेस्ला एकेडमी। तो हम चैप्टर स्टार्ट करेंगे रिलेटिव मोशन। देयर इज नथिंग लाइक इन द वर्ल्ड व्हिच इज एब्सोल्यूट रेस्ट और इन मोशन। दीज थिंग्स आर रिलेटिव टू ईच अदर। सो हम यहाँ पे क्या बोल सकते हैं कि जो रिलेटिव मोशन होता है इट डिपेंड्स ऑन ऑब्जेक्ट एज वेल एज ऑब्जर्वर। सपोज करो जैसे कि दिस इज अ स्टेट, ओके, एंड देयर इज अ वन कार दैट इज गोइंग ऑन द रोड एंड देयर इज अ टू पर्सन, वन इज अ ड्राइविंग द कार एंड अनदर वन इज सिटिंग बिहाइंड। इसको हम ए बोल देते हैं, इसको बी बोल देते हैं, एंड देयर इज अ टू पर्सन स्टैंडिंग ऑन द ग्राउंड is a C and this person is a D. So suppose if I ask you when C see a D, what you will say? कि C देखेगा कि जो B है D है इसके रिस्पेक्ट में it is in rest. But वहीं suppose करो जो C है वो A को देखता है, so he can observe very clearly like A is moving with the velocity of car only. और वहीं पे आप मान लो कि जो B है that is seeing toward a A, तो क्या लगेगा B को? B will feel that A is in rest because the distance between the both the main is not changing. So that's why we say our relative motion is a combined property. We can simply say motion is a combined property of observer and object under study. So we will start with the 1D relative motion. तो हम start करते हैं। सबसे पहले जो term हमको समझना है that is a relative position. It is a position of a particle with respect to observer. Suppose करो we are taking in 1D only. This is your x-axis, and suppose there is a person A and there is a person B. So I can say the position of person B is what? XB, and the position of person A is a XA. So can I say here position of B with respect to A? इसका मतलब क्या है? Position of B minus position of A. When you have to do the position of A with respect, then you have to minus XA minus XB. ये जो हमने पोजीशन दिया है this one, तो ये कौन सा पोजीशन आपको बता रहा है? this one ना, this is a relative position and the direction of relative position depend on the observer and the object, like who is the observer and who is the object. Here I have written position x b with respect to a. इसका मतलब क्या है? b is a object or a particle and a is a ऑब्जर्व, उसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? पोजीशन ऑफ बी विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ए, या हम बोल सकते हैं पोजीशन ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ऑब्जर्वर, बिकॉज ऑब्जर्वर इज ओनली वन हु इज गोइंग टू like trying to figure out the position. Suppose there is a three person A, B and C and assume here is your origin. यहाँ पे आप origin assume कर सकते हैं, and this direction you can assume as a positive and this direction you can assume as a negative. This separation is given to you 4 meter and this distance is given to you 10 meter. So you have to find position of B with respect to A. So हम क्या करेंगे? position of B minus position of A. What is the position of B? तो यहाँ से अगर हम देखेंगे तो it is at a coordinate of 4,0, तो मैं simply 4 ले लूंगा यहाँ पे, so I can say 4. And what is the position of A? So it is standing at a 0 only, so I can say 4 minus 0 is a 4, and I will use the plus because I am using the left and right one. That's why I will use this one as a positive and this one as a negative. So what is the second one? The position of C with respect to A. So position of C minus position of A. What is the position of? So it is at a 10. So I can say it is a 10 comma 0. So I will use 10. And what is the position of A? Is a 0. So you'll get plus 10. Then the third one is a position of C with respect to B. So it will be position of C minus position of B. What is the position of? The position of C is a 10 comma 0. The 10 minus what is the position of B? So it is 4. So you'll get 6 plus 6. And the fourth one, position of A with respect to B. So position of A minus position of B. So you'll get what is the position of A? 0. And what is the position of B? 4. So minus 4. So minus 4. You'll get minus 4 meter. Now after this we will start the another term that we call the relative velocity. We can define B relative relative velocity as a d by dt of x relative. So the rate of change of relative position is called relative velocity. आप इसको लिख सकते हो, the rate of relative position with respect to time. Take two objects, it is A and it is B, and let's say the relative position of this one is xa and for this one is the exact position x. So I can say the position of A with respect to B is nothing but the position of x A minus position of B. When I have to find the relative velocity of A with respect to B, that means d by dt of xab. So I can write this one d by dt of xa minus xb. So here I can say d by dt of xa minus d by dt of xb. So you can say the rate of change of position of A. So this is velocity of A minus velocity of B. You can say velocity of A with respect to B is nothing but velocity of A minus velocity of B. Similarly क्या होता है ना, अगर मान लो आपको निकालना हो velocity of B with respect to A, so we can say here it's a velocity of B minus velocity of A. And what is the velocity of A with respect to B? Velocity of A minus velocity of B, or I can say minus of velocity of B minus velocity of, so I can say velocity of B with respect to A is nothing but minus of velocity of A with respect to B. So suppose your bus is going in this direction and there's a tree like on this side. So you are moving, your velocity is this side with respect to this tree. With respect to tree you are moving forward, but with respect to you this tree is moving backward. मान लो कोई आपका object A, this is your object B, and these both objects are moving. This object A is moving with the speed of 5 meter per second, and this object is moving with the speed of 20 meter per second. You have to find the velocity of A with respect to B and velocity of B with respect to A. ये A and this one is a B. You have to find velocity of A with respect to B and velocity of B with respect to A. Velocity of A minus velocity of B. So 5 minus 20 is a minus 15. It is 20 minus 5, right? So it is 15 meter per second. Velocity of A minus velocity of B, right? Velocity of A is a plus 10 meter per second and velocity of B क्या होगा? Minus 12, 22 meter per second. And in this case, it's minus 12 minus 10. So it is minus 22 meter per second. Yes. What is the relative acceleration? So I can say here it is a rate of change of relative velocity with respect to time of the velocity of object with respect to observer. तो हम इसी का यूज करते हैं ना, हम बोल सकते हैं यहाँ पे a with respect to b is what d by dt of velocity of a with respect to b. अब आपको पता है इसको हम क्या लिख सकते हैं, d by dt of velocity of a minus velocity of b. So this is going to be d by dt of velocity of a minus d by dt of velocity of b. So I can simply say a minus b. This is the acceleration of a with respect to b. Similarly अगर हमको b with respect to a लिखना होगा तो हम क्या करेंगे, acceleration of b minus acceleration of a. Equations of motion. जैसे कि suppose करो हमारा पहला equation था v is equals to u plus at. So here we write b relative, u relative and a relative. The second equation of motion, as is equals to ut plus half at square. This was our second equation now. So here also we'll use the relative position, relative initial velocity and relative acceleration. Similarly, our third equation, v square is equals to u square plus 2a h. तो यहाँ पे भी हम क्या यूज करेंगे, रिलेटिव 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 एंड रिलेटिव. सिर्फ टाइम को हमने रिलेटिव यूज नहीं किया, बाकी सबको रिलेटिव. दिस इज आवर थर्ड इक्वेशन ऑफ मोशन. इट इज एप्लीकेबल व्हेन a relative is a constant. Then now the next term is the velocity of separation or approach. अब सेपरेशन कब होता है, व्हेन डिस्टेंस बिटवीन ऑब्जेक्ट क्या होगा, इंक्रीजेस. और अप्रोच क्या होगा, व्हेन द डिस्टेंस बिटवीन ऑब्जेक्ट्स डिक्रीजेस. यू कैन सी दैट व्हाट इज द सेपरेशन एंड व्हाट इज द अप्रोच, ना डेफिनेशन अबव. सो व्हाट डू यू से अबाउट दिस वन. फर्स्ट एग्जांपल, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग बिटवीन ए एंड बी. It's a separation or the approach, the distance between these two. What will happen about this distance, it will increase or decrease with time. Increase, right? So when that separation like distance increases, so we call this as a separation. इसमें approach हो रहा है कि separation हो रहा है, approach. Good. क्योंकि इनके बीच का जो डिस्टेंस है वो कम होता जाएगा, राइट ना. दिस वन अप्रोच और सेपरेशन. व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन दिस केस.
So they're both moving closer, so approach. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's why we see the distance. So that distance will decrease, so it will be the approach. This is approach, this is also approach, and this is a separation. What will happen here, approach or separation? Approach, no? So
Yes.
initially when they will move, no, like up to like their distance will become 0, they are approach. Once they cross each other, then it will start separation, ना. So अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं velocity of approach कितना होगा, so what we will say, velocity of A minus velocity of B, right? And we will take magnitude only. Okay, अगर आपका नेगेटिव भी आ जाए ना, so you have to take the magnitude because we have already specified like it is going to be velocity of approach. So 10 minus of minus 12, so it is plus 22 meter per second. मान लो एक ऑब्जेक्ट जो कि 10 मीटर पर सेकंड से मूव कर रहा है. ओके, this is object A and this is another object, let me say this one as a B, and this is moving here with a speed of also 10 meter per second, and there is another object C here and it is moving here with a speed of 10 meter per second, and it is given to you this separation is 100 meters. Find time interval when C meets B and C meets A. We know the distance separation between A and C कितना है. This separation is 100 meter. So we can say the separation is nothing but 100 meter. Now we'll see like whether this separation is going to be increase or decrease. So we know both particle A and B are moving toward each other. Velocity of A with respect to C हम यहाँ पे लेते हैं ना, या फिर आप उल्टा भी ले सकते हो चाहो तो, राइट. तो कितना आएगा आपका वो, that will be कितना का velocity of A minus velocity of C. The velocity of A is a 10 meter per second and velocity of C is a minus 10 meter per second. So it will become plus 10. So the velocity of A with respect to C is a 20 meter per second. Now we know that time is going to be what, d by v relative, or we can say the separation divided by relative velocity. Our separation is 100 meter and the relative velocity is 20 meter per second. So your answer will be 5 seconds. ये मान लो एक बिल्डिंग से, और इस बिल्डिंग का जो हाइट है वो आपको दिया हुआ है 150 मीटर। हमने क्या किया, एक बॉल लिया यहाँ पर, इसको हम बोल देते हैं ए, एंड वी हैव थ्रोन दिस वन विद स्पीड ऑफ 30 मीटर पर सेकंड। और वहीं हमने एक बॉटम पे एक बॉल लिया, ठीक है, इसको हमने ऊपर की तरफ थ्रो किया विद स्पीड ऑफ 20 मीटर पर सेकंड। और दोनों किस लाइन में मूव कर रहे हैं, दे आर मूविंग इन अ सेम line. So you know they are going to collide at one time. Find the time when ball A and B will collide. And you can take acceleration due to gravity g is equals to 10 meter per second square in this. So you can say what is the relative separation between them? It is a 150 meter. What is the relative velocity? So it is 50 meter per second. What is the relative acceleration? So for this one acceleration is a g, and for this one is also acceleration g. So I can say g minus g is equals to 0. So now if acceleration is 0, so I can directly use the equation t is equals to separation upon velocity. So what is the separation? 150 meter. And what is the velocity? It is a 50 meter per second. So you'll get your answer as a 3 सेकंड। देखो इसको एक और तरीके से कर सकते थे, वो भी मैं आपको बता देता हूँ ना। दिस स्पीड इज 30 मीटर पर सेकंड एंड दिस वन इज अ 20 मीटर पर सेकंड। सपोज करो बिफोर कोलाइडिंग इट विल ट्रेवल अ डिस्टेंस से x1 and it is going to travel some distance I am talking about now x2. So I can say x1 plus x2 is a 150 meter, and I will use the equation separately for a and b. So if I'm going to use for a, so I can say x1 is equals to ut 30 into t plus half, acceleration is in the direction of velocity only, so 10 into t square. And similarly I can say x2 is equals to what is that, 20 into t minus 1 by 2 into 10 into t square. Now you can add the equation and then again you will get this same. So 20t minus 5t square plus 30t plus 5t square is equals to 150. हमने ये जो वैल्यूज है उसको हमने इस इक्वेशन में प्लेस कर दिया, तो आपको पता है ये टर्म तो कैंसिल हो जाएगा। देन यू विल गेट t is equals to 150 by 50, that is 3 सेकेंड। मान लो ये ऑब्जेक्ट ए है, इसको हमने ऊपर की तरफ थ्रो किया विद स्पीड ऑफ 5 मीटर पर सेकंड, और ये ऑब्जेक्ट बी, इसको हमने ऊपर की तरफ थ्रो किया विद स्पीड ऑफ 10 मीटर पर सेकंड, एंड द वैल्यू ऑफ जी इज गिवन टू यू इज अ 10 मीटर पर सेकंड स्क्वायर। व्हाट यू हैव टू फाइंड, you have to find separation between A and B after 1 second. We have to find the S relative, right? The separation between the particle. We know the relative velocity is it is a 5 meter per second, and we know the relative acceleration it is a 0. So I can directly say S relative is nothing but the B relative into time. B relative is what, 5 meter per second into 1 second. So we'll get 5 meter only. It is given to you that car C1 is moving with constant speed, or here you can say the velocity also. The separation between the car 1 and car 2 is 200 meter. The velocity of car 2 is 10 meter per second. You have to find the minimum acceleration required by car A. You have to find the minimum acceleration of this car, so this both car will not collide. Relative motion in 2 dimensions. तो आपको पता है what is the first thing that we are going to define? The relative position. So we'll take the or everything in 2 dimensions. So let's suppose this is our y-axis and this is our x-axis, and there is one particle, let's say A. So I can say the position of this particle is RA vector in vector form. Similarly, take there's another particle B, and I can say the position of this particle is a RB. This is 0, 0 is my reference point, जिसके रिस्पेक्ट में हम सब कुछ मेजर करेंगे. I can say the position of A is RA vector and position of B is a RB vector. So when we have to find the relative position, how we can find relative position of A with respect to B? So what I can say, it is a relative position of A minus relative position of B. Similarly, I can say here relative position of A is equals to relative position of A with respect to B plus relative position of B. मैंने क्या किया, इस टर्म को इस साइड शिफ्ट कर दिया, अनदर साइड ना, तो प्लस हो जाएगा. सो सी हियर, आपको पता है ऐसे हम लिखा करते थे, वेक्टर सी इज इक्वल टू वेक्टर ए प्लस वेक्टर बी. सो आई कैन से हियर दिस इज माय वेक्टर ए, दिस वन सी इज अ वेक्टर ए प्लस वेक्टर बी. वेक्टर A is the RAB and this is a B. So B is this one, and what I can say about RAB, this vector that you can see here, this is my RAB vector. So it will tell you position of A with respect to B. So यहाँ पे A क्या है आपका ऑब्जेक्ट, और B पे क्या होगा आपका ऑब्जर्वर. Now I can say the relative position RA. Similarly, RA minus RB. अगर मैं मान लो RBA लिख, so I can write RB vector minus RA vector, and from this I can write RAB vector is equals to minus of RBA vector. Now there is one more term that we called relative velocity. आपको पता है relative velocity क्या होता है? rate of change of relative position with respect to time. So I can say V A with respect to B is equals to d by dt of position of A with respect to B. So I can say simply here d by dt of position of A minus d by dt of position of B. आपको पता है the rate of change of position of A is nothing but the velocity of A, and the rate of change of position of B is the velocity of B. So I can say velocity AB is equals to velocity A minus velocity of B. In the same way as we have done earlier, we can say velocity BA is equals to minus of velocity of AB. When we will going to differentiate again this one with respect to time, है ना, जब इसको हम again differentiate करेंगे time के साथ में, so I can say acceleration A with respect to B is nothing but d by dt of velocity of A with respect to B. So I can say it is a d by dt of velocity of A minus velocity of B. That is d by dt of velocity of A minus d by dt of velocity of B. That is nothing but the acceleration of A minus acceleration of B. We also got the same formula in 1D. There are two objects. Let's say this one A and this one is a B. The velocity of A is given to you this direction toward east 10 meter per second, and velocity of B is given to you toward north. It is also same 10 meter per second. It is given to you. What you have to find? Find velocity of A with respect to B and magnitude of velocity of this one. So we have to find velocity of A with respect to B. So what we can say about this one? Velocity of A minus velocity of B. तो आपको पता है कि velocity of A को मैं क्या बोल सकता हूँ? You can take the direction if you want. Later on we can replace. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. So this will take I cap and this will take j cap. So I can say velocity of A with respect to B is velocity of A. So what is the velocity of A? It is a 10. So 10 I minus what is the velocity of B? It is a 10 j. And another way, तो यहाँ से आपको ये आ गया. If you have to find the magnitude of vector AB is equals to root over magnitude of vector A square plus vector B square plus 2 VA BB cos theta. In this case, we have 10 square plus 10 square plus 2 10 10 and cos pi. You know the angle between the, this is your BA vector, okay, and this is your minus BB vector, right? ना यहाँ पे हम क्या पुट करेंगे? माइनस, अच्छा इसको तो यही रहना, तो यहाँ पे minus 10 पुट करें, and here we also put minus 10. And what is the angle between them? It is a 90 degree. So it is a cos 90. तो आपको पता है this term will become 0. So I can say the magnitude of vector A with respect to B is a nothing but 10 root 2 meter per second. If you see the direction, so this one is your velocity of A with respect to B, and this is your angle that is going to be 45 degree. So एक क्वेश्चन दिया आपको, ये ग्राउंड है आपका, हमने क्या किया, दो ऑब्जेक्ट को प्रोजेक्ट किया है ना, एक इधर प्रोजेक्ट किया विद स्पीड ऑफ 30 मीटर पर सेकंड एंड दिस एंगल इज 37 डिग्री. लेट्स से दिस ऑब्जेक्ट इज अ A. एक ऑब्जेक्ट को हमने इस तरफ प्रोजेक्ट किया, लेट्स से दिस ऑब्जेक्ट इज अ B and this angle is a 53 degree and the velocity of this particle is a 40 meter per second. So what you have to find? Separation between A and B after 1 second. First we will try to figure out V relative, right? So you know this angle is going to be 90 degree. So how we can find the V relative? Root over BA square plus BB square. So I can say my V relative is going to be root over 30 square plus 40 square, that is equal to 50 meter per second. Right, my A relative is going to be G minus G is equals to 0, and the time is given to me is a 1 second, and I have to find the separation distance. So I can use S is equals to UT plus half AT square. You know this term is 0, so I can say it is a 50 meter per second into 1 second. So you'll get your answer as a 50 meter. मान लो यहाँ पे एक tree and there is a boy, he is running this side with a speed of 16 meter per second. There is a old man and he is walking this side with a speed of 2 meter per second, and there is a one bird. The bird is flying with a speed 20 meter per second, and this angle is given to you 37 degree. Find the velocity of, क्या बोलूं, चलो, velocity of tree, bird and man seen by boy. The velocity of this word, now I will take the component. So this component will be 20 cos 37 degree, that is going to be 20 into 4 by 5 16 meter per second. Similarly यहाँ पे हम लेंगे एक component 20 sin 37, तो उसका वैल्यू कितना आएगा? 12 मीटर पर सेकंड. So I can write the velocity of bird is equals to 16 I cap plus 12 j cap. I can write the velocity of boy, b dash कर देते हैं इसको. So this can I write 16 I cap, and I can write the velocity of tree equal to 0, and I can write the velocity of old man is equals to minus 2 I cap. Now I have to find the every velocity with respect to boy. So I can find velocity of tree with respect to boy. B dash is equals to velocity of tree minus velocity of boy, that is 0 minus 16. So it is minus 16 meter per second. Then velocity of bird with respect to boy, it is a velocity of bird minus velocity of boy. तो velocity of bird कितना है आपका? 16 I plus 12j minus the velocity of boy, that is 16. It will cancel out, so we'll get 20j. Similarly, the last, the velocity of old man with respect to boy is the velocity of old man minus velocity of boy, b race na. So velocity of old man is the minus 2 and velocity of boy is the 16, so we'll get minus 18 meter per second in I direction. Relative motion in lift, तो ये कैसा हो सकता है आपका, सपोज करो आपका ये लिफ्ट, ठीक है, मान लो ये आपका लिफ्ट है एंड वी हैव प्रोजेक्टेड ए पार्टी फ्रॉम हियर लाइक दिस, say with a speed of u and the angle is theta, and the acceleration of lift, your lift, it is given to you, the acceleration of lift is vertically up, that is a. So what we have to find here, we'll find time of flight again, then h max, and then third thing is a range. So you already know what is the time of flight, we earlier using 2 u sin theta by g. But if you see this time, this particle, it has the acceleration g toward down, right? And then lift is coming with the acceleration a. So you can say here your relative acceleration is going to be g plus a, and that is toward downside, minus g and minus a. You can replace this g with g plus a. So I can say my time of flight in a lift is going to be 2u sin theta by g plus, suppose करो आप कि यही जो लिफ्ट है आपका, okay, if it is moving downward with acceleration a, then you will get time of flight 2u sin theta by g minus a. Similarly, your h max, what was the formula?
U square
u
sin square
square,
theta by 2g.
हाँ, साइन स्क्वायर थीटा बाई 2, तो यहाँ पे हम g की जगह क्या रिप्लेस कर देंगे, g प्लस a. Then the last thing is the range. What is the formula for range? U square sine 2 theta by g only, right? So here we'll write plus a. Sometime we call this one as a g effective also. It is given to you. This is a lift and it is moving up with acceleration a. एक पर्सन है इसके अंदर, ये एक बॉल को थ्रो करता है ऊपर की तरफ with respect to him with a speed of u vertically up. It is vertically up. Can you tell me what is the time of flight and what is the maximum height? अभी हमने टाइम ऑफ फ्लाइट निकाला था, प्रोजेक्टाइल का कितना आया था, 2u sin theta by g plus a. Now in this case we know it is vertical, so we can say theta is equals to 90 degree. So I can say it is 2u sin 90 is a 1 upon g plus a. It is your time of flight. Then for finding the h max, what was the formula? U square sin square theta by 2 times g plus a. We know this is going to be 1. So your answer will be u square upon 2 g plus a. Relative motion in river flow. Or you can simply say this is all going to be river problem. यहाँ पे जो कुछ चीजें आपको समझना है ना, जैसे कि मैं यहाँ पे यूज करूंगा वेलोसिटी एम आर, इसका मतलब क्या है, वेलोसिटी ऑफ मेन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रिवर, एंड देन आई कैन से वी आर is going to be velocity of river flow, and there's one more term that we are going to call vm, that is going to be velocity of main. Actually this is with respect to ground. बोल सकते हैं velocity of main with respect to river is nothing but the velocity of main minus velocity of river, or I can say velocity of main is going to be velocity of main with respect to river plus velocity of river flow in one dimension. तो आपको पता है जैसे कि मान लीजिए ये आपका रिवर है सपोज, एंड वी नो देयर इज अ वाटर इज गोइंग टू फ्लो इनसाइड दिस वन लाइक दिस, सो वी कैन से हियर u is a velocity of river and v is a velocity of main with respect to river. अगर मान लो if swimmer is swimming in the direction of the flow, suppose ko this is the direction of flow and that this is the same direction of a swimmer or the boat, so we can say this is going to be downstream, and suppose ko this is the speed of flow and this is the speed of swimmer, so this we are going to say it is going to be upstream. Upstream matlab against the flow, this is along the flow and this is going to be against the flow. Suppose this is your velocity of river and there is a swimmer who is swimming inside this one in this direction with a speed of v, and that is the velocity of main with respect to river, and then this is the velocity of river. So can you tell me what is the speed that is going to be velocity of main? So हम बोल सकते हैं velocity of main with respect to river plus velocity of river. So I know the velocity of main with respect to river is a v and velocity of river is a u. So if anyone is going to see from the ground, मान लो कोई यहाँ से ग्राउंड पे खड़े होकर देख रहा है, so what he will see like he is moving with his own velocity plus he is getting extra velocity because of the flow of the water. Then this type is called with downstream, इसको हम downstream बोलेंगे ना, downstream motion. एक क्या हो सकता है आपका, suppose this is your river, so this is u and this time main is swimming like this in this direction with a speed of v. This is the velocity of main with respect to river, this is the velocity of river. So you have to find velocity of main. इसका मतलब क्या है, we are seeing this person from ground, means we are seeing the absolute velocity with respect to ground. So I can say this is the velocity of main with respect to river plus velocity of river. So what is the velocity of main? It is v, and what is the velocity of river? अच्छा यहाँ पे आप चाहो ना उसको माइनस v लिख सकते हैं because in opposite direction and this is u, so I can say it is u minus v in this direction. अगर हम इस डायरेक्शन में लेंगे, we'll take this direction, then it is going to be v minus. So there is a swimmer who can swim with a velocity v. So this is the velocity of main with respect to river. जब भी आपको ये दिया जाए तो आपको दिया हुआ है कि the flow of a river, the velocity of river is given to you is a u. Okay, अब क्या होता है, ये रिवर आपका मान लीजिए इस तरफ फ्लो हो रहा है, दिस इज द डायरेक्शन ऑफ रिवर, तो ये जो मेन है, सो ही गोज स्विमिंग इन दिस डायरेक्शन एट अ डिस्टेंस ऑफ डी एंड इट विल गो टू दिस पॉइंट एंड then it will come back to the same point. So you have to find the total time taken by a man to complete a round. Let's say when it's going down, so I can say this is my time in downstream. So what is the distance that is going to cover? D. And what is the velocity? The velocity with it is going to be v plus u. In the downstream we know the velocity is going to be v plus u, so we'll write the time in downstream v plus u when it is coming back to the same point. So it is, let's say, taking time t upstream. तो ये कितना होगा? D. And what will be its speed? इसका स्पीड इस तरफ होगा, कितना होगा? v minus u. So I can say v minus u. So what is my total time that is going to time in downstream plus time in upstream? So I can clearly say, see here, it's going to be d upon v plus u plus d upon v minus. Now we'll take the LCM. We'll get v square minus u square. And at the top, when we're going to multiply d with v minus u, so dv minus du plus dv plus du. Du and du is going to be cancel out. What you are going to get? You will get 2 dv by v square minus u square. चलो इसके बाद हम स्टार्ट करते हैं river problem in 2D. Suppose this is your river and it is flowing like this with a speed u, and we can say the main is standing on this corner and he can swim in any of the direction. Let me say this one is a theta. So this kind of problem we have to solve, like separation between both the banks, and there's one more thing where it's going to be there. Let's say this one as a drift. ये term हम use करेंगे इसमें. ये आपका यहाँ पे boat दिख रहा होगा आपको, boat. This is your boat and this is how the river is flowing in this direction. Suppose करो अगर आप इस तरफ चलना शुरू करते हो सीधा, तो आपको इस तरफ जाना है, but river will also take you along this direction. तो आप कहाँ पहुंचोगे? You will reach somewhere here. Suppose करो ये boat है, we are sending this boat toward north on this point that you see here, that dot. Let me run this one. तो आप देखोगे boat जा तो सीधा रहा है, but because of the river flow it will not reach to this point. We like boat को ऐसे भेजा हमने, बस boat कैसे गया? Like this. So I can see here, this is my velocity of boat with respect to river, this is my velocity of river, and this is my velocity of boat. This is my going to be velocity of river. Clearly see here, velocity of river plus velocity of boat with respect to river will give you the velocity of boat. Suppose if you're going to change the direction like this somewhere, okay, this is the direction of boat. Now the boat is going to be like cross the river. So how it is going to cross? Like this. जैसे जैसे आप एंगल चेंज करोगे तो आप देखोगे इसका जो सामने जाने का जो है लोकेशन, इट इज गोइंग टू बी चेंज एवरी टाइम. यहाँ पे ये जो होगा आपका दिस सेपरेशन, दिस थिंग वी गोइंग टू टेक डी, दिस डिस्टेंस वी आर गोइंग टू कॉल एक्स, दैट इज ड्रिफ्ट, और दिस विल कॉल डी और डब्ल्यू, है ना, विड्थ और डी. यहाँ पे हमने जो यूज किया, वापस से लिख देता हूँ एक बार. दिस इज योर वेलोसिटी ऑफ बोट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रिवर, दिस इज योर वेलोसिटी ऑफ रिवर, एंड दिस इज योर वेलोसिटी ऑफ बोट. तो आपको पता है आपका जो वेलोसिटी ऑफ मेन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रिवर, व्हाट आई कैन राइट हियर, अगर मान लो यहाँ पे लिखना चाहूँ, सो आई कैन क्लियरली सी दिस इज माय वेलोसिटी ऑफ मेन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रिवर and this is my angle theta. So this component I can call, let me say this one as a v. So I can call this one as v cos theta, and this component I can call this component as a v sin theta, and this one that you can see, this arrow is going to be my velocity of your velocity of river with minus sign, because your velocity of river this side, so this direction is a minus of velocity of river. So suppose करो ये जो person है, so how is going to swim, this is your velocity of main with respect to river, this is your, आपको पता ना head to tail join करते हैं for vectors. So this is going to be your velocity of river. So this vector that you can see here, it is going to be velocity of main. तो अगर इसी डायग्राम को मैं वापस से बनाता हूँ आपको ना, so this is your going to be velocity of main with respect to river, this is going to be your velocity of main, and this vector that you can see how I reverse the direction, this is going to be velocity of river. So I can clearly see here, it is velocity of main with respect to river is equals to velocity of main plus of minus velocity of river. So we'll get velocity of main minus velocity of river. Now I will write in the vector. What is my velocity of main with respect to river? It is v cos theta I cap plus v sin theta j cap. And what is my velocity of river? It is u I cap. When you have to find the velocity of main, so you can say velocity of main with respect to river plus velocity of river. What is the velocity of main with respect to river? So v cos theta I cap and v sin theta j cap plus velocity of river. So what is that? U I cap. Right, everyone? So when I have to write the velocity of main, so I can clearly see here it is going to be v cos cos theta plus u I cap plus v sin theta j cap. So when we see the river, मान लो ये हमारा river है. So this direction I have assumed as a y direction, and this direction I have assumed as a x direction. You know already this thing, right? This let me say this is your width of the river w. So the velocity in the y direction, whatever the component of the velocity in y direction, it will help you to find out the time to cross the river. कि अगर आपको time निकालना हो, what is the time that is going to be cross the river, so that we are going to find out using the equation in the y direction. So the component in a y direction, it will help you to find time to cross river, and the velocity in x direction, it is going to help you the find out the drift. Now when I have to find the time to cross the river, so what is going to be the distance upon velocity, and what is the velocity that I have? It is a v sin. So I can write t is equals to w upon v sin theta. It is my time to cross the river. And when I have to find the drift, that is the x, what I call this one drift. We can apply the equation separately in x direction and y direction. So we have already applied equation over in y direction to find out the time to cross the river. Now we are going to apply the equation in x direction, and you already know the magnitude of the velocity is a constant. So we can say that there is no acceleration actually here. So we can simply use the equation now. So drift is equal to velocity in x direction into total time to cross the river. What is the velocity in x direction? That is v cos theta plus u into what is the time to cross the river? It is a w by v sin theta. So this is going to be your drift. Now we'll try to figure out shortest path, and the second for a minimum drift, and third thing they can ask for a minimum time to cross the river, angle of swimming. So this is again your river, and the width of the river is w. The velocity of river is given to you u. This is velocity of river, and at this point a swimmer is going to swim with a velocity of, let's say, v, that is the velocity of main with respect to river, and let's say this angle is your theta. So pehla question, find the angle theta for shortest path. So suppose if your velocity of main, if it is going to be in this direction, then this main will take a shortest path. तो क्या होगा इसमें? आप मैं यहाँ पे वापस से कंपाउंड लिख, सो दिस इज माय v, so this is going to be, let me say, theta. So this is v cos theta, and this is going to be v sin theta, and this is going to be u. अब सपोज करो you don't want any x, right? You want x should be 0. इसका मतलब क्या है? x is equals to velocity in x direction time, that should be equal to 0. What is the velocity in x direction? So we can say u minus v cos theta. It is your velocity of main, net velocity with respect to ground in x direction. And what is the time? कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता ना. Time equal to 0.
So why do you take x as 0?
Because we have to find the shortest path. अगर मान लो this person is going on this path for assumption, okay? So I can clearly see now this the path length of this one, w days. W days is greater than w, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is the shortest possible path? That is perpendicular. If we have to go perpendicular, that means our velocity in x direction must be 0, right,
Yes.
Srishti?
Yes, sir.
We don't want to move in x direction. We want this direction 0. That's why I have taken here.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So from here, I can say u minus v cos theta equal to 0, or I can say cos theta is equals to u by v, or I can simply say theta is equals to cos inverse of u by, what is the time that will take to cross the river? W by v sin theta only. We already know this diagram. Let me make. Na? This is your theta. Cos theta we know. It is u by v. So it is a base upon hypotenuse. So this value will get as a v square minus u square. So from this diagram, I can see sin theta is equal to root over v square minus u square by v. So I can simply replace here w is equal to v into the value of sin theta is a root over v square minus u square by v. This v will cancel out, so we'll get t is equals to w upon root over v square minus u square. Now the second thing they can ask you in the same question, the minimum time to cross the river. Now we'll see this of river. So suppose this is your river, and velocity of main with respect to river, that is v, and it is angle at theta, and this is your velocity of river, that is equal to u. आपको बताना है at what angle this main should swim, so he will take minimum time to cross the river. You know what is the time that we takes to cross the river? It is going to be w divided by velocity in y direction. If suppose you have this vy is the maximum, so your time is going to be minimum. We know the time that we have studied, it is equal to w by v sin theta. This is our velocity in y direction. So what is the maximum possible value? So that we can see as per the sin theta. So what is the maximum possible value for sin theta? It is 1. It comes when theta is equal to 90 degree. In that case, you will get time equals to w by v. So this is your minimum possible time to cross the river. Now they can ask you the drift in this. That is equal to velocity in x direction into time. What is the net velocity? in x direction, that is the only river flow. And what is the time? That is w by v. So what is the drift that you are going to get? U w by. So this is your drift in case of minimum time to cross the river. तो आपको दिया हुआ है कि एक river है and let's take the width of the river as a 400 meter and it is given to you the velocity of river is a 2 meter per second and आपको दिया है velocity of man with respect to river that you call v. This is your so this is given to you 10 meter per second with respect to water in the direction perpendicular to river this way. Clear everyone? So what you have to find time to cross the river and second thing drift and the third thing theta. Let's say this is your velocity of main with respect to river. तो फर्स्ट थिंग वी हैव टू फाइंड द टाइम टू क्रॉस द रिवर. तो हम बना लेते हैं पहले हमको दिया क्या है. सो दिस इज योर वेलोसिटी ऑफ मेन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रिवर दैट इज v. दिस इज योर velocity of river and this is your velocity of main, this is u, and let's say this angle is theta. So we have to find the time, right? So time to cross the river क्या होगा? Width by this velocity of main with respect to river. So what is the width? It is a 400 meter. And what is the velocity of main with respect to river is a 10 meter per second. So I will use this thing. So 10 meter per second. Then you will get 40 seconds from here. The second thing that I've asked you the drift. Drift is what? Velocity in x direction into time. What is the velocity in x direction? 2 meter per second. And what is the time? 40 seconds. So you will get 80 meter. And the last thing that they have asked you the theta. So this is your theta. So make this triangle complete. This is your perpendicular. This is your base. So I can say 10 theta is equal to perpendicular upon base. What is the value of the base? That is the u. And what is the perpendicular? That is your v. So I can say it is a v by u means 10 by 2. So from here you can say theta is equal to 10 inverse of 5. Now we'll see this question. It has to reach this point direct. So you know when it has to reach this point means if it has to go directly in opposite bank. So the velocity of main should be in this direction. We know already the velocity of river is going to be this one. So this one is going to be my velocity of main with respect to river. So this thing is given to you 3 kilometer per hour. This thing is given to you 5 kilometer per hour using Pythagoras or vectors. So you'll get this one as a 4 kilometer per hour. Now you have to find the theta. Theta हम किसको बोलेंगे यहाँ पे? So let's say this is your horizontal line and this is your theta. So what I can say about the theta? Tan theta is going to be perpendicular upon base. What is the perpendicular here? Vm. And what is the base here? That is Vr. So what is the Vm? Vm is going to be 4. And what is the VR? That is going to be 3. So we know when we'll get the theta is equal to 4 by 3, when theta is equal to 53 degree. Now we have to find the velocity of main, that we already got it 4 kilometer per hour. And the last thing that you have to find the time. The time is very easy. Width by velocity in perpendicular direction. So what is the width? It is a 1 kilometer. And what is the velocity? That in perpendicular direction, that is a 4 kilometer per hour. So it will take 15 minutes to cross the river. Boat move relative to water with velocity v. This is the velocity of boat. Then, which is n time less than the velocity of flow, and u is a velocity of flow, and it is given to you like v is n times smaller than the velocity of flow. Means here you can say the velocity of flow is greater than velocity of main or say boat. So हमने अभी तक जितने क्वेश्चंस किए ना, in all those questions we have considered like velocity of flow is less than the velocity of river. But in this question, we are considering, or it is given to us already, like velocity of flow is greater than velocity of boat. Then they have asked you at what angle to the stream direction must the boat move to minimize the drift. We'll make the diagram. This is our river, and let's say this is our direction of velocity of main. We have assumed, na? And you can assume this angle here, let's say theta. Distance between the river is d and the flow of river. This is the flow of river, that is u, and this is velocity boat, the velocity of boat with respect to river. This is going to be your velocity of boat. Now I will take the component. So this is the actually v. So I'll take the component here. It is v cos theta, and here it's a v sin theta. So what is the net velocity here? It is u minus v sin theta. And what is the net velocity in y direction? It is v cos theta. Now we'll find the time to cross the river. तो वो क्या होगा आपका d upon v cos theta. Now we'll find the drift also. So what is the drift? That is the velocity in x direction into time. So what you will get? You will get u minus v sin theta into time. That is the d by v cos theta. We want this drift to be minimum. So what is the condition when we want drift to be minimum? We should differentiate this one dx by d theta and make it equal to 0. So let me differentiate this one. Let multiply first now. So u into d by cos theta, yeah, by v into cos theta is nothing but a sec theta, and this thing is a minus d tan theta. So this is your x. Now I'm going to differentiate this. So let me differentiate. Dx by d theta is equals to u into d by v into what is the differentiation of sec theta? Sec theta tan theta minus d, and what is the differentiation of tan theta? Sec square theta ना. And for finding maximum, make it 0. इसको हम थोड़ा solve कर सकते हैं. So d will cancel out. 1 sec theta will cancel out. What will get? u by b tan theta minus sec theta equal to 0. अब आपको पता है हम क्या कर सकते हैं? u by b, this is sin theta by cos theta minus 1 by cos theta equal to 0. So I can say u by v, this cos theta will take common and it will go that side, will become 0. So I can say u by v sin theta, and I will take this term to that side. So it will become 1. So I can say sin theta is equals to v by u, and I can say sin theta is equals to, what is the value of v? That is the u by n upon u. You will cancel out. So you'll get theta is equals to sine inverse of 1 by n. Wind airplane problem. So it is also similar to a river problem. So here we'll take A is a aircraft, W is for a wind. So I can say the velocity of aircraft with respect to wind is equals to velocity of aircraft minus velocity of wind. So VA vector is what? Velocity of aircraft with respect to ground, and VW is velocity of wind only. Airplane flies along a straight line A. This is point A and this is point B. So आपको दिया है पहले फ्लाइट यहाँ से यहाँ जाएगा, it will go to this point and then it will return back to the original point. The distance between A to B is given to you L, and aeroplane maintain constant velocity with respect to wind V. The velocity of aircraft with respect to wind is a V. There is a steady wind with a speed. Velocity of wind itna hai u, and it is an angle of theta. So I can say this one is a u which is making an angle of theta. Suppose you want to go in this direction, that is where you want to go. This is you want your velocity of aircraft. So what do you think? What should be the direction of aircraft with respect to wind? It must be some in this direction. Can I say? And let's say this angle is alpha. We'll take the component. तो कैसे ले सकते हैं हम component? Along the line AB. आप ऐसा सोचो कि अगर इसका net velocity इस तरफ रहा along A to B, then only it will reach B. अगर इसका थोड़ा सा ही velocity y direction में आया, then it will reach to some another point. So we don't want any velocity in y direction. So what will happen? We'll take, this is your V and this is your U. So I will take the component. This component is a u sin theta and this component is a u cos theta. Similarly, for this one is a v sin alpha and this component is v cos alpha. Now, I don't want to move my airplane in y direction. That's why my v relative in or v net in the y direction must be 0. So I can say u sin theta is equals to v sin alpha. Now we will find out the time from A to B. So we know the velocity is this one only along the AB. So the time A to B will be d by, what is my velocity? It is u cos theta plus v cos alpha. Now we'll do the remaining. So what is that? Now it is returning from B to A. So this is my point B and this is my point A. So what is your velocity of wind? This one, na? U. So this is your velocity of wind U, and this angle is theta. I want to go in this direction. So I should take some velocity actually. So let me take this time, this is my velocity. And let's say this angle is alpha. So this component, this is B. There is nothing with the velocity of aircraft with respect to wind. And this is my velocity of aircraft. And this is my velocity of wind. So can I write here? This one is a V sin alpha. And this one is a U sin theta. And the velocity in this direction, it will be the V cos alpha minus U cos theta, because the component of this one is going to be this direction, u cos theta, and in this direction, that is v cos alpha. Now we will find the time from B to A, or sorry L ना, I will write here L. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, आपको समझ में आ गया वो तो ना. L upon, and what is the velocity? The velocity is nothing but v cos alpha dash minus cos u cos theta, and this is a alpha dash. From this one we can say airplane should not move in y direction, otherwise it will land to some another place na. That's why. So here I can say my u sin theta is equals to v साइन अल्फा डेज है ना. एक इक्वेशन तो ये आप, एंड वन इक्वेशन हमने जो पहले निकाला, दिस इक्वेशन, दिस वन. तो दिस इज माय इक्वेशन 1 एंड दिस इज माय इक्वेशन 2. So using 1 in, I can say alpha is equals to alpha dash. So total time of journey is going to be t a to b plus t b to a. So what is t a to b? It is v cos alpha u cos theta. And what is time b2a, it is L by u v cos alpha minus u cos theta. Now we'll take the LCM. So we'll take LCM. So we'll get b square cos square alpha minus u square cos square theta, right? And when you multiply here, you get L into v cos alpha minus u cos theta. So you'll get v cos alpha plus u cos theta. So minus term will cancel out. So you'll get only 2v cos alpha. So cos alpha is not given to us. So what we'll do, we will replace cos alpha. How we can replace cos alpha? We know u sin theta is equals to e sin alpha. So from here you get sin alpha is equals to u sin theta by v. I can make this triangle, and let's say this is alpha, this is perpendicular, this is base, and this is hypotenuse. So this is nothing but the perpendicular upon hypotenuse. So this perpendicular is going to be u sin theta, and hypotenuse is going to be b. So I can say base is going to be v square minus u square sine square theta. So what we'll do now? We'll replace this value of cos alpha. Okay. So how we can replace? It is 2lb. And what is the value of cos alpha? So we'll get from here. What is that? Base upon hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. So what is the base? It is b square minus u square sine square theta. And what is the hypotenuse? It is v. So the under root it will become v square. Similarly, at the bottom, you can write v square. And what is the value of cos square alpha again? So you can write the value of cos square alpha is nothing but the v square minus u square sin theta का square root होगा तो square root हट जाएगा. It will go then divided by v square minus u square cos square theta. So it will be 2lv root over 1 minus u square by v square sin square theta divided by this v square will cancel out, and you will take from here u square common, so it will become 1. So you'll get v square minus u square. That is the total time of flight. So you have to find the time of airplane having velocity v. The velocity of airplane is given to you v. Yeah, velocity of airplane is given to you v, and it is given to you, it is flying in a square, right? The side is a. If the velocity of wind blowing at a speed of u, the velocity of wind is given to you u. You have to find the time to complete the square. They've given you velocity of aircraft with respect to wind is a v, and velocity of wind is equals to u. You have to cover, this is your square path a b c d. So let's say this is your velocity of wind को हम ऐसे करते हैं a b c d. So आपको पता है there is one time will be tab, here the time tbc, here is the time tcd, और यहाँ पे जो time लेगा that is tda. The length of this path is given to you a only. So यहाँ पे आपको पता है the velocity of aircraft is also going to be in this direction, right? With respect to wind, that is v. So I can say the velocity of aircraft with respect to wind is equal to velocity of aircraft minus velocity of wind. Then I can say the velocity of aircraft is the velocity of aircraft with respect to wind plus velocity of wind. So what is the velocity? This one v, and what is the velocity of wind is a u. So if you have to find that time tab is what? Distance upon the velocity, that is v plus u. Now will come from B to C. Okay, so our net velocity must be in this direction. Means this should be the velocity of aircraft. We already know this is our velocity of wind. So our velocity of aircraft with respect to wind must be in this direction. Then only you get this resultant. This value is a U and this value is a V. So ये आपको right angle triangle दिख रहा होगा. We can write this magnitude as a root over v square minus u square. This time I haven't used the component. I have used the Pythagoras to find out this velocity. Okay, now I will take the time bc. That is nothing but the a upon root over v square minus u square. Now we'll find the time cd. So you know the velocity with respect to wind, and velocity of wind is this side. So I know that my velocity of aircraft is going to be this side net. What is that? That is going to be v minus u. So I can say TCD is nothing but the A upon V minus U. And similarly, when I will go from D to A, so the time taken here, T D to A, is same as that, this one. आपको समझ में भी आ रहा हो क्यों होगा ऐसा? So it will be A by root over B square minus U square. So your total time is going to be TAB plus TBC plus TCD plus TDA. What is the TAB? That is nothing but the A upon V plus U. What is TBC? That is A upon root over V square minus U square. What is TCD? That is A upon V minus. And what is the TDA? That is A upon root over V square minus U square. Now I will take this term together and these terms together. So we'll get 2AB divided by V square minus U square plus 2A root over V square minus U square. Now you will take common 2a, so you'll get v plus root of v square minus u square. So this will be your total time. So you know whenever rain happen na, It can happen in any direction. So it may form some angle with a vertical. Whenever man walks, he walks either in this direction or in this direction. That is what is possible for velocity of man. And whatever this rain is falling, this one is going to be velocity of rain. So we can make these two vector together. Okay, let me say if I'm making this is a velocity of men, let's this case. So what happens when you make this together? This is velocity of rain and this is your velocity of men. When we have to find velocity of rain with respect to men, so what you'll do, you'll do velocity of rain minus velocity of men. So here we already have velocity of men, and what will be the velocity of men? This one. But we want this one with a minus sign. So what we'll do, we'll draw in this direction another vector, and that vector we call minus vm vector. And you know we can shift this vector parallelly, so you can shift this vector to this side. So this is your minus vm vector. When you join this line, this will be your velocity of rain with respect to men, because velocity of rain with respect to men nothing but the velocity of rain plus of minus velocity of men. आपको दिया है this is your velocity of rain and this is given to you velocity of men. You have to find velocity of rain with respect to men and the angle also. You know how to solve this one? We'll make the vector arrangement. So this is vr, and you know velocity of rain with respect to men is nothing but velocity of rain minus velocity of men, or velocity of rain plus of minus velocity of men. So this is your velocity of men. तो minus वाला क्या होगा आपका? The minus velocity of men will be this one. So this will be your minus velocity of men, and this will be your velocity of rain with respect to men. The value of this one is given to you 10 meter per second, and this value is given to you 6 meter per second magnitude, right? And this angle you have to find. Say this angle is a theta. So can I use tan theta is equals to perpendicular upon base? What is the perpendicular? 6. And what is the base? It is a 10. So you will get theta is equals to tan inverse of 3 by 5. This is the rain with respect to main. It is given to you 10 meter per second. And the velocity of main. This is your velocity of main. And it is given to you 10 meter per second. They have asked you what is the velocity of rain. So we'll make a diagram. Again, we know velocity of rain with respect to main is equals to velocity of rain minus velocity of main, or you can write velocity of rain is equals to velocity of rain with respect to main plus velocity of main. So we know this is your velocity of rain with respect to main, this one, plus velocity of main. So this is your velocity of main, and so this vector is going to be your this one, right? Velocity of rain, and say this angle is theta. So you know this value is given to you 10. You know this angle is 90 degree. So by Pythagoras, we can say it is nothing but under root 10 square plus 10 square. So it will be root 200. This velocity is given to you 5 meter per second. Okay, sorry. And this velocity also given to you 5 meter per second. So here we'll take the square of 5. So it will be root of 125. So it will be 5 root 5 meter per second. Then we have to find the theta also. So I can say 10 theta is equals to perpendicular upon base. This is my theta. So this is my base, that is the 5. And this is my perpendicular right now. So it is 10. So it is 1 by 2. So we'll get theta is equals to 10 inverse of 1 by. So this is your man who is standing on the ground holding the umbrella. So you observe, and he is on rest. He observed velocity of rain to be falling. This is velocity of rain. That is 20 meter per second, and it is falling at an angle of 30 degree. Now, what should be the speed of this man? So that the velocity of rain with respect to man appear to be falling vertically. तो हम क्या करते हैं, डायग्राम बनाते हैं वापस. We'll make this is our velocity of rain. We want our velocity of rain with respect to main should be this one, and we can say velocity of rain with respect to main is nothing but velocity of rain minus velocity of main. So यहाँ से हम बोल सकते हैं, we can say velocity of rain is equals to velocity of rain with respect to main plus velocity of main. So I can add here this one vector. So this is going to be my velocity of main. You already know value of this one is at 20 meter per second. This angle is 30 degree. So this Vm I can say Vm upon Vr is what? Sine 30 degree. That is going to be 1 by 2. So I can say Vm is equals to 1 by 2 into Vr. So what is the Vr? Vr is nothing but the 20 meter per second. So we'll get Vm is equals to 10 meter per second. Now in the second part they have given कि अगर हम मान लो further speed increase करते जाए ना, and we want to see again to be rain to be appear falling at an angle of 30 degree. So this is actually velocity of rain. We want to see rain at an angle of 30 degree. तो इस एंगल पे तो पॉसिबल नहीं, for that we have to come to the rest, but हमसे बोला velocity increase करना है ना. So another possibility is in this direction. So this is the possible velocity of rain with respect to main, and this angle we can say can be 30 degree. So we already derived this. What velocity of rain with respect to main is equals to velocity of rain minus velocity of main. I can say velocity of rain is equals to velocity of rain with respect to main plus velocity of main. So this is my velocity of rain with respect to main, and this is my velocity of main. This angle is also 30 degree, and this angle is 30 degree. We know this value was 10. So this value will also be 10 meter per second. So our total velocity in this direction has a magnitude of 20 meter per second. So the answer for the second one, the velocity of main is going to be 20 meter per second. Okay, suppose Karo, if I have asked you in the same question, what should be the velocity of main so that he can see rain falling at an angle of 37 degree with vertical. So we want like what should be the velocity of main so the velocity of rain with respect to main appear to be falling at an angle of 37 degree. आपसे क्या बोला है यहाँ पे? आपसे बोला है कि जो main को rain appear होना चाहिए, that should be at an angle of 37 degree. So we can say this angle is nothing but 37 degree. Now this is velocity of rain, and we already derived this one now. Velocity of rain with respect to main is equals to velocity of rain minus velocity of main. So I can say here velocity of rain plus of minus velocity of main. So if I add this vector, this one, this is nothing but the minus of velocity of main. Means your velocity of main should be in this direction. So how you will get it? So we can make this triangle complete. You know this value is 20. This angle is 30 degree, right? So this value will get 10 meter per second. And what will get as this value? So this is nothing but the base here. So I can say base upon hypotenuse is equals to cos theta. So base is equals to what is the h? That is the 20 cos 30. Cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So it is going to be 10 root 3 meter per second. Now I will take this triangle. This angle is 37 degree. You know this value is at 10 root 3. So this value I can easily figure out how. Let's assume this angle 37. So this is my perpendicular. Perpendicular upon base is equals to 10 37 degree. That is nothing but the 3 by 4. So you'll get P is equals to 3 by 4 into 10 root 3, or you'll get 15 root 3 by 2 meter per second. So this total value is a 15 root 3, right? And we know this value is a this value is 10 right now. So we have to find this value actually. So what we can do? We can do 15 root by root 3 by 2 minus 10. So this is going to be your velocity of main. There is another possibility. What can happen? We know this is our vertical direction. This is our velocity of rain initial. That is 20 meter per second, and this angle is 30 degree. It can happen that person can see 37 degree on the another side. This side he can see one. So this is the velocity of rain with respect to main. So I can write velocity of rain with respect to main is equal to velocity of rain minus velocity of main. So or we can say velocity of rain is equal to velocity of rain with respect to main plus velocity of main. So this is velocity of rain with respect to main. So I can say this is the velocity of main actually. This value is 20. This angle is 37. So this value, which one? This portion. You already know it is 10. This angle is 37. This value is 10 root 3. So this value you can easily figure out. What was that? 15 root 3 by 2. So your total value, this one, is going to be 15 root 3 by 2 plus 10 meter per second. But in this time, it is in this direction. Let's assume there's a two particle. One is here or one is here. Let's say it is A and let's say it is B. Let's assume this is moving in this direction with velocity v1. And let's say this second particle, it is moving some another direction. Let's say here. And it is v2. When you join the line between them, between A and B. So what happened? In this one, let's say this angle is theta 1 and this angle is theta 2. Can we take the component of velocity here? One component of velocity here is a v1 cos theta 1 and this component of velocity is v1 sin theta 1. Similarly, if you take the component here, it is v2 sin theta 2 and in this side it is v2 cos theta 2. We can take component of both the particles. If you see here, so what will happen? This component is along the line joining. So they are mainly responsible for either they will increase the distance or decrease the distance. If they are increasing the distance, then it is a separation, and if the distance between them is decreasing, then it is going to be your approach. Now there is a one more component that is perpendicular to the line joint. So what happened to this component? Let me draw here. So let me take velocity of B with respect to A. So velocity of B with respect to A. So what happened? First you write the velocity of 2 itself. So वो क्या है आपका? To make here, this one is a B2 cos theta 2 and this one was B2 sin theta 2. When you have to find BB, so velocity of B with respect to A, that will be velocity of B minus velocity of A. So हम क्या करेंगे यहाँ पे जो B है उसमें A का velocity उल्टा करके ऐड कर देंगे. Means we'll just reverse the sign and add ये. तो देखो आपका what was the velocity of 1 A A, that is the V1 cos theta. So I will add that component this side. So V1 cos theta 1, and there is another component that is V1 sin theta 2. तो इसको हम कहाँ लगाएंगे? This side in opposite direction. V1 sin theta 1. Suppose if the distance between them is d, between A and B, the time to cover the distance, we can say it will be d by v1 cos theta 1 plus v2 cos theta 2, and the second component is responsible for the rotation of particle b with respect to a. So this component is responsible for rotation or angular displacement, actually you can say. So if you see the component of b with respect to a, तो अब हमारा ये पर्सन किस पे है? रेस्ट पर. रिलेटिव मोशन में यही होता है ना, राइट? वी अज्यूम दिस वन एज द रेस्ट एंड दिस पार्टिकल सीम्स टू बी मूविंग विद वेलोसिटी v1 cos theta 1 plus v2 cos theta 2. That is the observation of A, and in this direction, perpendicular direction, will get v1 sin theta 1 plus v2 sin theta 2. So you know this velocity is responsible for increasing or decreasing the distance, and this velocity is responsible for the rotation. So हम इसका यूज करते हैं circular motion. We use this one like for finding the omega, that is the b perpendicular by r. So in that case we can use this. Say this particle A is moving here with speed of 4 meter per second, and this particle, let's say B, this is your A, and it is moving with velocity 3 meter per second. And initially, this separation between O and A, origin and point A, is 3 meter, and the separation between O and B is a 4 meter. So you have to find first velocity of separation. A t is equals to 0. You know the velocity of this particle is 3 meter per second. So I can take the I can find out this angle first of all. This angle. So you know this angle is going to be 37. How? Tan theta is equals to perpendicular upon base. So 3 by 4 equal to 37. So this angle is going to be 53. If you take the component of this velocity 3 in this direction, so this angle is 37, so this angle is also 37, vertically opposite angle. So it will be 3 cos 37, okay, along this line. And for particle A, the component of velocity along this direction. So this angle is also 53 degrees. So I can say it is cos 53. So your velocity of separation is what? 3 cos 37 minus of minus 4 cos 53 degrees. So you'll get 3 into cos 37 is 4 by 5 minus of minus plus 4 into cos 53 is 3 by 5. So you'll get 24 by 5 meter per second, or you can say 4.8 meter per second. Now in the same question, if I ask you the same thing, find the velocity of separation at t is equals to 1 second. So we'll make the diagram again. Let me take, that is my y-axis and this is my x-axis. So I will make a diagram after 1 second. So what will happen after 1 second? Initially it was 4 meter. So in 1 second it will travel 3 meter. So I can say it will be somewhere here, and it having the velocity here, that is 3 meter per second, and this distance is going to be at that time 7 meter. Similarly here, the particle was initially 3 meter and it is moving with 4 meter per second, so it will cover 4 meter in 1 second. So this distance is also going to be 7 meter. Now we'll join this point, and you know this has the velocity here 4 meter per second. Now you know this angle is going to be 45 degree, and this angle is also going to be 45 degree. How? Right angle isosceles triangle. So when I have to find the separation or approach, I have to take the component of velocity along the line join. Always I have to take the component this side. So the component of 4 this side is 4 cos 45. Similarly, the component of this side is what? 3 cos 45. So what is my velocity of separation? It is 3 cos 45 minus of minus 4 cos 45. We have taken along the line joining. So it will be 3 by root minus of minus then plus by root 2. So it's a 7 by root 2 meter per second. Condition 4, uniformly moving particle to collide. Suppose करो आप कि there's a one particle here, let's say A, and there's one particle here B, and let's say it is moving here with velocity v1, and it is moving here, let's say some another direction, velocity v2, and let's join the line between them. This angle is theta 1 and this angle is theta 2. You already know how we're going to take the component, okay? So I'm going to write it very quickly. V2 sin theta 2, and this one is a V2 cos theta 2. Similarly for V1, here we're going to get V1 cos theta 1, and in this direction we'll get V1 sin theta 1. It is going to be velocity of approach here because they are the distance between them actually decreases. Suppose if these two particles has any relative velocity in y direction, so what happen? The particle will move in some other way, like relatively like this, in this direction maybe, or maybe in this direction. So what we want, there should be no net velocity in y direction. So what happen? The particle 1 with respect to 2 move in direction which is along the line joining. So what we can do, the component in the y direction should be 0, the relative velocity, or I can say v1 sin theta 1 is equals to v2 sin theta 2. If these two condition is satisfied, especially this condition, collision. So we can say these two particles are going to collide. The next thing we are going to see is the say maximum and minimum distance between two particles. अगर आपको किसी पार्टिकल के बीच का सेपरेशन निकालना हो तो उसको हम बोल सकते हैं सेपरेशन बिटवीन देम इज AB at any time between two particle A and B. Let's say this is AB. At any time when we want this separation to be minimum, so what we can do, separation between them differentiate with respect to time for maximum or minimum. Here we are finding for the minimum. So let's say it is going to be 0. When it is going to be 0? When we have to find the minimum separation. Similarly, अगर आपको मैक्सिमम चाहिए तो उस केस में क्या होना चाहिए, आपका वेलोसिटी ऑफ सेपरेशन कितना होना चाहिए, 0. So question is that this car is moving from west to east with speed of 72 kilometer per hour. When we are taking this diagram, it was at a 500 meter. The car B is moving with a speed of 54 kilometer per hour and the separation was 400 meters. You have to find minimum distance between them. तो कैसे कर सकते हैं हम, using the relative velocity. Let me draw again. हम क्या करते हैं ना, दोनों में से एक पार्टिकल को रेस्ट पे कर देते हैं. So let me say this particle was B and this particle E. So let me make this particle at rest. So I will give all the velocity of this particle. इसका velocity कितना था? The velocity of this particle is BB in this side, vertical up. So मैं इसको हटा दूंगा यहाँ से. The velocity of this one was a VA and I will give BV in this side. So this particle now it at rest and this is on in motion. So this velocity is 20 meter per second and this velocity is how much? 15 meter per second. So you know the net velocity is going to be in this direction. So let's say this is it's a net velocity and this angle is theta. And the if you have to find the minimum separation, so the minimum separation is going to be along the line perpendicular. This one. Let me say this point is a ABC. So this BC is our answer. This is our minimum separation. So it will move in this direction. Can I find out this angle theta? So I can say tan theta is equals to what? VB upon VA. So that is going to be 15 by 20 and that is going to be 3 by 4. That is my tan theta. In which direction this particle is going to move. This distance I already know how much it is, 500. This angle I have figured it out. How much it is? 37. We can find out this value, na? So what it will be? So let me say this one is nothing but y. So I can say y upon 500. That is nothing but the 10, 37 degree. So that is going to be 3 by 4. So if you solve this one, you will get y is equals to 375 meter. So this is your 375 meter. This distance was given to you initially 400 meter. So this remaining distance, this portion is going to be 25 meter. Now this angle is 37. This angle is 90 degree. So this angle is going to be 53. So this angle is also going to be 53 degree. How? Vertically opposite angle. So I have to find this value. So let me say this value as a x, that BC value. So I can say x upon 25. So now x upon 25 is what? Sine 53. This triangle here. So you will get x is equals to 25 into cos 50. That is 4 by 5. So you'll get 20 meter. So I will explain you one more method for this one. So let's say initially this particle was here. So what was the distance here? Let's say the velocity here is a VA and this separation was 500 meters. And this is the particle B that having the velocity in this direction. And initially it was at a distance of 400 meters. Now let's assume at time t, this particle will reach here after time t. So what will be this remaining distance after time t? 500 minus VA into t. So I can say this distance. I will write this distance as a x. So x is equals to 500 minus 20t. Similarly, this particle V will move up to this point, let's say. Okay, so this distance is going to be how much? So we know this particle will move how much? The BV into t. So this distance is going to be 400 minus BB is 15 into t. Now we will join these 2 points. So I can find out this distance d. That is my separation. So I can say d is equals to nothing but this x square plus y square the root. And we know the value of x is what? 500 minus 20t square plus, and what is the y square? That is going to be 400 minus 5t square and that is going to be your d square. तो जब भी कभी आपको किसी का मैक्सिमा या मिनिमा निकालना होता है, so at that time we differentiate that thing with respect to time and equate that thing, that function equal to 0, so we'll get maxima and minima. So what we'll do here, we also do differentiate with respect to time. When I'm going to differentiate, that is 2d into dd, then if you differentiate this one, you'll get 2 into 500 minus 20t, then again minus 20 plus 2 into 400 minus 5t into minus 5, and this term we have to get equal to 0. So what will happen? You will find out the time when the separation is going to be minimum. You will get 2000 minus 80t plus 1200 minus 45 is equals to 0. So you'll get 45 plus 80, that is 125t is equals to 3200. So you'll get t is equals to 3200 by 125. So when you will divide this thing with 25, you'll get 128 by 5 सेकंड. ये वो टाइम है, द टाइम व्हेन यू विल फाइंड द मिनिमम वैल्यू. अब उसके लिए आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? पुट दिस वैल्यू इन दिस इक्वेशन दैट यू आर सीइंग हियर. सो व्हाट विल हैपन इफ यू सब्स्टिट्यूट द वैल्यू, यू विल गेट d इज इक्वल्स टू रूट ओवर 500 माइनस 2 इंटू टी का वैल्यू 128 by 5 होल स्क्वायर प्लस 400 माइनस 15 इंटू 128 by 15 whole square. And if you solve this one, you'll get 20 meter. So this is triangle particle A, B, and C are situated at the vertices of a triangle, of equilateral triangle of side A. So the side of the triangle is given to you A. Each particle move with a constant speed V. तो हर particle का speed आपका क्या है? Constant है. Velocity is not a constant, but speed is a constant. A always has its velocity along AB. Means जो A है, ये हमेशा किसकी तरफ जाएगा? It will always directed toward B with velocity B. Similarly, the B is always directed toward C and C is always directed toward A. So you have to find at what time this particle will meet to each other. I will draw the diagram after some time dt. Okay. So what will happen? This particle will move A here. Okay. Let me say A dash. This particle will move here. Let me say B dash. And this particle will move C here. Let me say C dash. Now let me again make this triangle. Now the velocity of A is again directed toward B, and the velocity of B again directed towards C, and this velocity is toward this side. And after some time dt, let's say the particle A arrives here, B arrives here, and C arrives here. So what will happen? So the velocity in this direction V, here it's a V, and here it's a V. So what will happen if you see the total path of a particle? The particle A will move like this, and every particle is going to meet at a center. So we have to find at after what time they are going to meet. Let me draw this triangle again, and we will see the velocity of approach. So we know this is the velocity v, and this velocity is v here. So this angle is 60 degree. So we'll get two component of the velocity. One is here, that is v sin 60, and one component here, that is v cos 60. You know this component along the line joining A and B. It is responsible for the approach. So time required to approach is nothing but the d by velocity of approach. So what is the distance? That is A. And what is the velocity of approach that we have? It is a v, and this is going to be v by 2. So it is going to be v plus v by 2. That is going to be 2a by 3. That is your answer. Now I think तो आपको मुझे बताना है what is the displacement, and the second thing you have to tell me what is the distance covered. See, displacement you can directly see ना, this one. So ये वैल्यू तो हम सीधा निकाल सकते हैं ना. नाउ द नेक्स्ट थिंग इज द डिस्टेंस. तो डिस्टेंस कैसे निकालते हैं हम? इफ यू हैव टू फाइंड द डिस्टेंस, देन यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट द स्पीड इनटू टाइम. Very simple. So what is the speed? It is a v. And what is the time? 2a by 3v. So I will get my distance as a 2a by 3. Can you tell me what is the displacement? This angle is 30 degree. So this value is going to be, let's say, hypotenuse. So I can say a by 2 upon hypotenuse is cos 30. That is nothing but the root 3 by 2. 2 will cancel out. So we'll get h is equals to a by root. So this is going to be your displacement. This is an square of side A. And there is a four particle A, B, C, D. And it is the same question as the previous one. This particle moves with speed v, and this one also v, and this one also v, and this one also v. आपको बताना है when this particle will meet. You have to find the time. There will be no component of this velocity in this direction. So there is only one component, that is the v. So you'll get time is equals to distance, that is a, and the v relative. Yeah, velocity of approach, you can say. So that is a upon v minus 0, that is a by v. If I ask you what is the distance covered, it's a speed into time. So it's going to be speed is a v into a by v is equals to a. And what is the displacement here? This one, right? Up to center. So that is nothing but a by root 2. This is an hexagon. Okay? And it is given to you, there is a particle at each corner. And each particle is moving with velocity v directed toward another part. You have to find the time when they will meet. This angle actually 60 degree. You know that thing. So this value will come v cos 60. That is nothing but v by 2. So we'll see the velocity of approach. That is what? V minus v by 2. So time कितना होगा हमारा? The side is given to you a. Okay, each side. So you'll get a by, that is the velocity of approach. So it is going to be a upon v by, so that is going to be 2a by